boy says bad words.
Are you going to eat your apple while we're doing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all right?
You're a slob.
Oh, actually, wait. Let me take a bite. Can I just take a bite?
Just take a bite.
Okay.
Keith likes apples.
That's fresh. That's fresh. Hit it.
Hey, welcome to Dominator TV. I'm your host, Dave the Dominator, returning for a second time. That's number 2 as our special guest.
Back to back.
Let's welcome multi-million-dollar producer, GRI certified best friend, Keith Nitsch. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Woo!
Let's edit in some applause there to make you feel better. We'll really like that. On February 12th, I'll be recording a live listing presentation at our office's sales meeting. You know, that might actually get pushed from February 12th because we have a ninja training that day. But I'm sort of trying to gear the public up for that training because I'm going to record it. I'm actually pisting a listing presentation on our broker's home in, did I say pissing or pitching? Sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a new term, okay? It's kind of between pitching and getting it done.
Okay, so I'm actually pisting a listing presentation to our broker on his house that he's going to be having for sale as a test to show some of our newer agents sort of what format they can use for listing presentations. It's kind of like a hairstyle. Everybody has their own. But there are certain things that definitely need to be included in a listing presentation. And I have done a pretty good job of listing them all off here. But I'm sure that between the two of us, I can't talk. It's that damn apple. Take another bite. I'm sure that between the two of us, we can come up with everything that we think that we need to cover. So before we gear up to show the actual presentation, and I hope Keith's there, and I hope he can input that day, and I hope that he gets to throw some objections at me and stuff like that. Let's just see how that happens. But before we do that, I think it's important to take today to talk about many of the tools and resources that we have at our disposal to get the seller what they're looking for. Dun, 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 dun. The MLS. Duh. Do you use the MLS, Keith?
Every day.
Every day. And we're actually upgrading to a new MLS this year, so I'm pretty excited about that. What's the MLS, Keith?
Multiple listing service.
What the hell does that mean?
It's a whole bunch of jargon that says, hey, all these professionals have access to your house that's for sale.
So the multiple listing service used to take the form of a book. And during the information age, we started to get digital online listings. And rather than go and get a book that gets produced every week and you get one photo of the house in black and white that's itty bitty, and everybody starts off their remarks the same way, come tour this lovely blah, 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 blah. So we decided to come up with a way, not we, but realtors decided to come up with a way to universalize that. And now everything that you see through Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Homes and Land, blah, 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 all that stuff comes from the MLS, which is what we directly put it into. What's your home MLS, Keith?
My home MLS? Paragon.
What he means to say is River County's Association of Realtors. I also subscribe to the Greater Chattanooga Association of Realtors. Our office has coverage from, literally, not us, but other people in this office have coverage from Cartersville, Georgia to Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's like a 200-mile stretch or something crazy like that. So there's not a lot to say about the MLS because it's standard. That's what you get. Every realtor is going to put you in the MLS. We hope.
If you go to interview an agent and he doesn't use the MLS, just say goodbye.
Are you discriminating against that agent?
No.
Social media advertising. This is something that most every realtor does, but do they do it right? So, everybody's on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Do people buy stuff off Facebook more commonly now, or are they going to other places?
They're buying stuff every day. I bought something today off Facebook, okay?
Did you? Okay. So did you know that Facebook is losing just a little bit of steam and people are using other programs like TikTok to express themselves. There is absolutely no advertising potential happening on TikTok right now, but TikTok was the most downloaded app according to Apple of 2019. Do you advertise on TikTok?
No.
I'm starting to think that we should, though. I have advertised just a little bit on TikTok, just a little bit, and mostly for this YouTube series. So I'm going to work with playing with that. I don't really advertise on Snapchat. Instagram religiously. Tumblr, I haven't gotten anything from Tumblr. I do get leads from Instagram now. I get leads from Facebook and Facebook group marketing, as well as actually paying for ads on Facebook. It's super helpful. LinkedIn's starting to come back just a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit more steam. So when I say advertise on social media, I don't specifically mean, hey, come check out this house. I mean, take a video of that house. When you pulled up in the driveway, did you take a video of that house that you can debut, with the seller's permission, on your social media channels? Who's doing that, Keith?
I am.
Other than Keith, not many people are.
Dave, are you?
Yes. So let's talk about website syndication. We call them portals, Zillow, Realtor.com. I hit on those very briefly. Zillow, I actually did a whole episode about portals. You should watch it, episode 11. It's great. So portals pick up the information that we put into the MLS, and they syndicate it to your browser. Sometimes they miss a few things, more than sometimes. But we love them. We're happy to have them right now anyway. Sales meeting interactions. So when I have a listing, I'm pitching it to everybody at the office. Are you?
That you sure are. You got to pitch to your fellow realtors. You know, when you're out shaking hands and kissing babies, you need to be saying, hey, have you seen 123 Main Street? Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're kissing babies, most of the realtors in our office will, hey, do you have any buyers for this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever, on Sycamore? Like, they'll ask the agents. They'll have it in the MLS, but a lot of agents aren't looking in the MLS every day. I know that I am, but a lot of agents don't have time to do that. So when they hear it at the sales meeting, it's a good place to pick up traction. Let's talk about AdWords Campaign. Our company puts together a free AdWords campaign for all of our listings. Do you like AdWords?
I do like AdWords.
It just helps us get more exposure. Aerial and professional photos. Humble shout out to Lewis and Clark Ventures for doing all of our aerial photos. He is the man. When do you use aerial photos?
Every single time.
Every listing period?
Every listing.
It really helps people.
Big or small.
You know, Jamie can actually take and put a red line on the estimated boundaries of the property. So it's kind of like having the benefit of looking at a survey, although it's not official like a survey. But you actually get to see like a real picture. 1080p or 4K? What does he shoot in? Who knows? It looks really good, though.
It's a great place you can really gauge from the neighbors. Like, you can see where that parcel fits in junction with the streets, with the roads, with the trees, how far away it is from the park. It's nice.
Great. Open houses. I am the open house king. Well, back to aerial photos. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention the word professional photos. I actually will pay a professional to come in and take photos of the house because they are professional photographers. I am not a professional photographer. I have this pretty little phone right here that has 3 cameras on it, and it does a real good job, but it is nothing on. We'll throw another humble brag out there to Jamie Lewis and Philip Slowiak. He's a really, really good photographer as well. Open houses. So I'm the open house king. I have an open house virtually every weekend. Open houses are a great way for us to connect with buyers every single day. So when you as a seller say, do you have any buyers for my property? I meet 20 every Sunday. What about you, Keith?
I love open houses. Now, I let Dave do my open houses, okay?
I've actually kind of taken that on as the office. I try to do everyone's open houses. A lot of people like to spend time with their families on Sundays and stuff like that. So I've sort of stepped into that niche and just taken it on. That way I can be connected with as many buyers as possible. Community awareness events. We have Adopt-A-Pets. We have home shows. We have the Sweet Tea and Sunshine Festival. All these things that we do. Do we present our listings to people that come in there?
Oh, yes. We have a board of listings.
A board, a slideshow. We'll pull the MLS up on our phone. Yeah. Whatever it takes. We are members of the Chamber of Commerce here at the office, so we have the opportunity to go in at 8 a.m. and do a breakfast the first Tuesday of every month. We don't always make it. Somebody from our office usually does make it. Usually Margie's really good about getting there. Anytime we sell a house or list a house, I've been doing postcard mail-outs or letters to the neighborhood. Hey, pick your neighbor.
And it's really good because, if you can get the neighborhood rallied behind your stuff, that's really going to help you out. Your neighbors are nosy, it's okay. They want to know how much that street down the house or the house down the street just sold for, because they might be thinking about selling.
How much that street down the house sold for?
Yeah. Down the street.
Now, you see that last bullet point. Don't say it. We're going to talk about that one last because that one's important. That's the cash right here. So we're not talking a lot about format because you'll see that on February 12th. Well, you're going to see it after February 12th. But I like to have a digital presentation that I can provide to clients and then give them a backup paper copy so that they can go through it. Another thing that I think is super important is to actually have a copy of all the contracts involved with the sale. How are you going to present to somebody if you can't explain to them what they're going to be signing?
I agree. And they always have questions.
Well, speaking of questions, Keith, I know that you have a few other things you'd like to add to this list, so why don't you tell me about them?
Yeah. Things that I do that Dave doesn't do. No, just kidding.
Dave will do whatever you want.
I think something else that's important to do is to personally invite people to come look at that house. Just do a private showing. Say, hey, do you want to come look at this? Whether it be another agent, a neighbor down the street, personally go and knock the neighbor's door and say, hey, Greg just listed his house. Would you like to take a look at it? Get a sneak peek. Because when they're out living their lives at the grocery store, or they're going to Aldi's, or they're going to church, or they're talking to their Aunt Betsy, they might mention that and be like, man, yeah, actually, I went inside Greg's house. It was beautiful. You should have saw what he did in there. And you just want to get that activity. You want to get that buzz going. Get that fire.
Humble, what is the humble?
Humble Bumble. Get the Humble Bumble going.
It's a humble plug to the age of self-expression that I just talked about. Today, knocking on somebody's door is much more successful than it was 5 years ago. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. It's great.
They don't expect it yet, but it's very personal. Face-to-face communication is number one, and I think that's wonderful. I do not always knock the doors around the open houses, but I should. I have nothing to lose. They're not going to shoot you.
Do it, Dave. Do it.
Your family's going to get a check. What else do you do?
What else do I do? I'm consistent with every single one of my listings. So, with the aerial photos, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or a 6-bedroom, 5-bath. Every single listing gets treated like royalty, and that's something you should do. You should look at. If you're going to look for agents, make sure they're consistent. Look at their Facebook, post. See if they advertise every single one of their listings. Ask them. Say, hey, are you going to just do this for my house, or is this something you do for every house? Where's my house going at? Because if your house is worth $150, and you expect them to go through the bee's knees and everything for that house, but that agent only does that stuff for houses that are $350 and up, you need to know that, going in. Yeah, so when you go and you don't see your house getting the royal treatment, you're like, man, what's up?
Do you bust your ass for the $10,000 property just like you do for the $350?
Every single one gets the same treatment, man.
There's actually an award that our company gives for the lowest volume sale every year. So, are you ready to talk about the last one?
I'm ready. This is my favorite part.
I'm going to let you introduce, Keith, what is one of the best ways to bust your ass to get the job done for a seller?
Daily phone calls.
Daily phone calls. Oh, my God. Drop the phone. Daily phone calls.
And then pick that phone up.
You call people?
Every day, Dave.
Why do you call people?
To get the word out.
The word out about what?
About that house.
Really? So you pick up the phone when you get a house listed and you call people that you think might be interested in that property and pitch it to them.
That's right. And they're not always just clients. They might be other realtors or family friends, anybody. You just got to pick that phone up and start dialing.
I agree wholeheartedly. My goal is actually to spend 2 hours on the phone every day. The minimum number of calls that I can make is 20. and I like to do it from 10 a.m. to noon. I think that's when people are the most responsive. But I have been a little bit of a slacker in doing those prospecting calls for my buyers. I do it for the for the sellers. I do it for buyers all day long to try to pick up sellers. Like, I try to prospect to get listings all the time, but I could really grow and call more people. And I do it. I got this very first idea when this guy, I had this property listed. It was a 12-unit apartment complex, and he said, I want you to call. And he gave me a list of people he wanted me to call here in Cleveland and pitch that to. And these were some big wigs in Cleveland. These were some money makers. And I called every single one of them and said, hey, the owner of this property said he was going to kick my butt if I didn't call this and pitch it to you. And they laughed, and we had a good time, and I approached everybody just like that. And aside from getting to meet people face-to-face, that is the best way to pick up so much business and to get the listing sold for your client. If you have an agent who is just going to put it on the MLS and stop, they offer MLS-only subscription services for about $500. You'd save a lot of money, because if that's all they're going to do, just go with that. If you want a full-service realtor, you need to have somebody who went through that exact list of what we just did and more. You want to get creative. Maybe you want to throw – we didn't even talk about newspaper ads. No, we didn't talk about radio ads. We didn't talk about Craigslist. Craigslist. Dub that. Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace. Instagram. Let Go. Everywhere that you possibly can, all sorts of social media outlets. Being a poster, I'm like a billboard for my clients.
Dave is. He's a walking, talking billboard.
Yeah.
He's got a billboard.
This right here is how you make money. Blah, 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 blah. So, we'll go into some closing comments. Keith, do you think you have a good close rate with your listings? Do you think you do what it takes to get them sold?
I do.
What are we doing to one of your properties right now?
We are going above and beyond the call of duty.
Absolutely. Keith and I, in the past, have crossed the line with helping people. We've performed repairs. We've patched drywall, repainted houses, fixed hardwood floors. We've put up banisters.
We've delivered in the rain, everything.
We try not to get into the nitty-gritty stuff like that because there's a little bit of a liability issue. But this time was a little bit different. You have a 47-acre piece, 44-acre piece, and the client said, we want to bring our razors and ride all over the property because there were several trails. But these trails haven't been crossed in a long time.
Years.
So Dominator went to borrow stepdad's chainsaw. And the last week, Keith and I have been walking this property, cutting these paths back up.
We're using a chainsaw. We got a machete. I mean, the job's getting done.
But why? Why are we doing that?
So these guys can come out on their razors and just enjoy the property. So they can really get to see this property without having to walk it. They're going to be able to sit in comfort and see the whole piece.
I was going to say because that's what it's going to take to get the property sold.
Yeah, we're going above and beyond. We're not just going to be like, yeah, just take your stuff and go look at it. You know, the royal treatment.
Royal treatment. So, Keith, I asked you this question before. If viewers want to find you, they can find you on the internet at Facebook, right? They can probably find you on Instagram. Call Dave. He's trying to be... Screw this guy, man. I'll put his comment or his info in the comment section. Don't you worry. You will have all the opportunities to work with Keith the Killer. Nitsch. Finding your niche in real estate. Niche rhymes with something else. Anyway, until next time, this has been Dominator TV.